We know now that the government is doing this, though it isn't what you assume to be the government, but a dark, shadowy figure government within the very crevices of North America, possibly even the world. Now, I just want to say, before I get too deep into this, that I'm not going off a script. I had a script written. I'm not gonna do it because for the simple purpose of I just think that I could do this more justly, going from the heart. So if any of you have an issue with what you're about to see, what you're about to hear, then please leave. If not, then please stay, share this with your friends, download it, distribute it, tell the world. Because what I'm about to tell you is the God's honest truth. Now just what God? That's for you to decide. For those listening, I can't allow myself to live with these secrets anymore, and I do know that once this is over, this is probably going to be the death of me. I'm probably going to vanish in the middle of the night, but I want you all to know that nothing will ever stop me from coming forward with the truth. I've done months to even years of research. I have contacts in the highest forms of government, in the highest forms of state and provincial police, that these people are being taken not for sex trafficking, not by some satanic cult, but by a group of individuals within our very government who have made a deal with the devil. And it is just completely absurd and insane. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, just why? What's been going on? What's been happening? Well, I'll tell you. These people are being taken, men, women, and children, from all walks of life. They're vanishing without a trace. And it's not because of the stresses of society or addiction or any of this stuff. What it is that it's a group of people within the world have made a deal with the devil. Now, by devil, I don't mean the biblical sense of the word devil. What I do mean is that there's a race of either interdimensional beings or extraterrestrials who have come down to Earth over the millennia and have done dealings with humanity time and time again. Why? Because they want DNA and genetic material, because their race is dying out. Let that sink in. They are using us for cattle. They're using us to harvest our DNA, our genetic makeup, to preserve their race. This race of beings has no genitalia. They are all under 5 feet, are gray-skinned with big eyes. Why? They have been genetically modifying themselves so much so to the point where their own genetic makeup is so watered down that they cannot survive anymore. So, what do? They come to us with the promise of technology, technological marvels that no one could understand, or concept that would take us another 1,000 years to come up with if we were doing it on our own. What they're doing is that they're coming to us with technology, offering us technology for the simple idea of taking our genetic makeup from those deemed unqualified or unfit to live in our society, those deemed as vagabonds or runaways or addicts. Who's gonna miss them, you ask? Well, let me tell you something. Many people will. These people are being harvested like cattle. The herders are humanity. The farmers are these aliens. Now, it sounds completely insane. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe it's something completely different. But I will say this. When society realizes what the truth is, you'll never look back on humanity and the political structure again. Now, it's not those who are elected into office. It's not those who work for the tax man, or who work for the hydro companies, or distribution of electrical equipment, or whatever. It's not those even in the military, though there are a few who do work for them in the military. Now, I've been accumulating this data for years. It's been a long time, and I decided to come out now with my findings. So, sit back and enjoy what you're going to hear, okay? I'm not going to give out names. I'm not going to tell you guys where I get this information from, because I do not want to put those people who have trusted me to come forward with the truth and put them in danger. So, you're probably wondering what the Mefitis Society is, or the Mefitis Conspiracy. Well, it's something you'll have to understand before watching this movie. And what it is that Mefitis was an ancient Greek god for noxious gases coming from the earth. So it could be sulfur, stuff from volcanoes, whatnot. But the whole idea is that they're trying to shape us into cattle, so we can become a higher source of nutritional beings for them. So what they're doing is they're taking men, women, and children, and they're harvesting their DNA. Now, why? So they can prolong their own extinction. So they could prolong their existence and prevent widespread death from happening. They are from the future. They are us. We become them. Now understand this. 10,000 years, we become them. We worship technology. God is dead. The whole world is nothing more than a one-being race of technological marvels. They have destroyed the earth in the future. So, to prolong their lives, their existence, they do what is called siphoning. Now they siphon off the magma from our planet, which in evidence proves that the world is cooling down. NASA has said it before, global warming isn't happening, but the planet is cooling down significantly. By that I mean they are siphoning off our magma from our volcanoes. They're giving technology in a backroom deal to allow themselves to collect and harvest people to continue their own genetic makeup. It sounds completely crazy, but when you find out that there's about 100,000 people missing a year in North America or more without a trace, and the police aren't doing anything, the federal government isn't doing anything, you start to understand and connect the dots. Now, the Mefitis Society formed after World War II, though other forms of it were around. Now, to get back to Mefitis, Mefitis was the Roman god for basically volcanoes, or noxious gases, which became volcanoes, because back then not a lot of people knew what volcanoes were. But she was mainly worshipped in Pompeii. Now, if you don't know what Pompeii is, it's the city that was destroyed by the massive eruption of a volcano. So, these beings give technology away. They'll take the magma away, and they'll give a quota on how many people they need. Now, this could be a list of about 200 people they'll need, or whatnot, and in exchange they'll give them such marvelous gifts. Now, the Roman Empire was an astonishing society. They were so advanced compared to the other societies at the time. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, why would they destroy Pompeii, and why would they allow the Roman Empire to fall? Well, that's because there's a quota. You see, these aliens, who are us, don't want the bottom of the barrel genetically. They don't want the idiots. They don't want the crippled or those afflicted with disease. They want the best of the best to preserve their race, which, in fact, is just an entirely insane group of beings. Now, when that quota is not made, just like in real life, if you don't make a quota in your, for your company, you lose. So, Pompeii was destroyed, the Roman Empire was destroyed by those that were deemed pretty much uncivilized in their own eyes. And this is because they were destroyed because they didn't meet their quota. Now, you're probably also thinking about Mount St. Helen. Mount St. Helen was a test. It was just to prove a point. The vast majority of people who disappeared were after Mount St. Helens. People were running away and disappearing here and there in small groups until Mount St. Helen. When Mount St. Helen erupted, afterwards started the huge push on people disappearing from national parks, from provincial parks, from highways, from their own homes in the middle of the night. Entire groups of people were just vanishing left, right, and center because they saw the destructive powers of these beings, and they wanted more technology so they can get the advancements the foot ahead of the others from other countries. This is all this is. They are playing off of human nature. They're playing off of humanity's own paranoia and wanting to succeed over their neighbor. Now, this is a fact. The nation of Atlantis, a country, a continent, an island out in the middle of the Pacific, was destroyed. They were the most civilized people on the planet. Now, these people were from the Bronze Age. Before the Bronze Age, the rest of the world were still wandering around like mindless apes. But these people on this island were so technologically advanced, they had everything. How did they get this? Well, they were pretty much cattle to these beings. They were basically slaves to them. They became so dependent on higher standards of technology, of a higher existence of living, with great architecture, great weapons, armor, the whole 9 yards. Vast amounts of knowledge was given to them. And why? because they were meeting the quota. And once that quota wasn't met, that quota was higher than the entire population of Atlantis, they decided it was enough. So they came down and they destroyed Atlantis. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how come that hasn't happened again? Well, it has. It has. Volcanoes have been erupting in Hawaii and the Philippines because quotas are not being made. Quotas are not being met, and they're starting to get frustrated with us. If you look around and you wonder, hey, this is a really good phone, or hey, how come technology hasn't honestly advanced like it was 100 years ago? In the period of 100 years, cars, tanks, aircraft, stealth bombers, computers, the whole 9 yards have been just breakthrough after breakthrough. And what we're seeing here is that there are people in this world who don't understand. People are branching off and they're worshipping pagan ideologies. They're worshipping volcanoes because they know the truth. They believe volcanoes are a portal gateway to these beings, and that's not the case. They are confused individuals, but that's okay. It's okay to be confused in this day and age. Society as a whole is starting to slow down. The population of the planet is starting to expand at a rapid rate. Why is that? How come there isn't any large diseases or plagues wiping people out anymore? Sure, many people would say it's because of medical technology and medical advances. But maybe, just maybe, it's because people are being herded like cattle to the slaughter. And sooner or later, something's gonna happen. And a vast majority of people are gonna vanish right before your eyes. And if not, humanity will destroy itself. Supposedly destroy itself. But really it'll be the hands of these beings who have done it time and time again. It's insanity and it's run amok and it has to stop. People are wondering just how far they'll go. So far in the United States and Canada alone, people are disappearing at a rapid rate. The amount of people who disappear without a trace, not even leaving a shoe or a fingerprint or anything, or even witnesses. Nobody sees these people vanish. Nobody sees them go into a car or a truck or a semi. Nobody sees them do any of this. They see them walk away, or they see them leaving, or they see them just walking on the highway, and then within an instance when nobody's around, boom, they vanish. This has to stop. And they know what they're doing. They're not stupid people. They're not stupid government officials who are just, doing what they can. They're not taking just anybody. They're taking people who had families, people who had children, and who were loved, and they want answers. But the government and the police departments aren't giving them answers. It's insane. And if you look around the world today, you can tell something's going to happen. Something's going to be big. It's going to happen. And what it is that it's just madness run amok. It's just a society that's gone downhill so much so that we have to look around and we have to question ourselves just how far are we willing to go to satisfy these beings. Now, the Mefitis group is a group within the government in North America. They are starting to organize a way to cultivate more and more. Like I said before, They're a group that they were founded in after World War II. They made contact with aliens. As we all know, UFOs have been spotted in Germany, England, the United States, Russia, Canada during the Second World War. After the Second World War was done, the US government, with the Allies, found a way to communicate with these beings and decided to make a trade-off. They weren't interested in us. Let's get that straight. They were not interested in us until we achieved atomic energy. They just saw us as every other race or society of people before. The vast amounts of UFO spawnings around UFOs just before they erupt is phenomenal. A lot of these volcanoes erupt because they go in, they meddle with Mother Nature, they take the magma, the power their ships, and the fuel their societies, and then they leave, which causes a disruption within the Earth's core, causing it to erupt. Just like a pimple. You know, you can poke it and prod it and whatnot, and yeah, it hurts, and then it gets extremely inflamed, and then you know, an infection spreads. That's what they're doing. They're infecting the world. And these have been seen around Hawaii, the Philippines. It's been documented around Europe during the days of Leonardo da Vinci. Many people honestly don't know this. They don't know that the government is actually cultivating people that have been labeled undesirables. Those that are seen as worthless human beings are being taken away in the middle of the night. Healthy human beings. Now, they don't care about intelligence, they don't care about anything. All they want is a fresh source of DNA that isn't destroyed by radiation or destroyed by vast majorities of chemicals. It's insane. A lot of people don't understand this though, but you're probably thinking to yourself, well, where did you get the technology to like make computers, or to make tablets, or to make stealth bombers, or to make laser weapons or sound weapons or nerve weapons? These all come from them. They make these deals with us for people. We are nothing more than cattle to them. Society is at a standstill. Before, societies would flourish and they would build great marvels. They would be so technologically advanced, and then they disappear overnight for nothing. They just vanish. Why did they vanish? Because they didn't meet their quotas. They didn't meet the numbers. And these beings had enough. And they were like, okay. So they would take them. God only knows how they destroyed them. How they managed to collect the material. But a few theories do come out though, that they are taking the females, the women, and they are keeping them imprisoned in tubes, basically like vast tubes, where they are strapped down to gurneys and used to produce hybrid children. It's a fact. Then they take the males and they collect DNA from them, and they collect their seed, and then they manipulate them, and then they put them into their own incubation tubes with their own DNA to create more hybrids, so that those two hybrids can breed and become a full variation of them, but with working genitalia, and they're able to understand and to breed amongst themselves. That's all this is. It's a Genesis project. It's a reverse Genesis project. That's it. It's to save themselves by destroying us. They're us from the future, and And they've meddled in their own bodies and their own genetics so much so that they decided to come here and meddle with us. But just like in every other society, in every other science fiction story before, if you mess with your past, you'll cease to exist in the future. Because of the whole world of possibilities could happen. So, they're not only harvesting us, but they're also very careless and very reckless. Just like humanity. That's what I'm saying. They're just like us in every way, shape, and form. And it's disgusting. I have seen multiple reports of sightings, of people vanishing, of people in the military telling me that they go to other countries. That they go to other countries without knowledge, without prior knowledge of what their mission is, without people knowing what is going on, and they're going and they're taking people from villages in the middle of the night because they have a quota to make, and these beings tell them where to go and who to take and what to do and where it is and where to drop them off. Area 51 for the longest time was a drop-off point. They have their own airline, for God's sakes. It is just so insane that these people are able to function and to take these people and all of a sudden drop them off, wait for their visit, wait for them to come pick them up, and then give them something as a reward. You know, the microwave oven, computer technology, stealth bombers. These are all hydrogen bombs. These are all things given to us by them as a reward, like how you'd reward a dog or a small child for behaving. I'm recording this right now at a hotel in southern Alberta, just on the border. I had to meet some people today, and that's why I'm not doing it off script. I'm just doing this to tell you the truth and the straight facts, because I could see my name being on a list. So I want you all to understand that this insanity has to stop. They are branching off into other governments. The EU now, within a couple of years, will be infested with them. Now, you're probably wondering, well, that's insane. That's preposterous. How can this be? Well, the Indian space program is absurdly cheap, and they can do the job of any other country. But you're telling me the EU spends $100 billion or whatever it is on their space programs, but India can do the exact same thing with partial budget. So where's the rest of the money going? Well, the rest of the money is going towards police forces to turn the other way. If you ever wondered to yourself, how come these small sheriff's departments, these small police forces in nowhere are able to afford such high-tech weaponry, or to have their own little urban tanks? That's because they're allowed to turn a blind eye. They don't want you to know this. They don't want you to believe that they're being paid off by a large organization to turn a blind eye. But they are. If you ever look at a small police force, they always have, their weaponry is always so basic looking. But in the back rooms of all these police departments, they have advanced weapons. They have basically almost military grade weapons. how could they afford all this stuff, right? You know, a small farming community in Saskatchewan or Idaho or Ohio, you know, how could they afford such things? It's because they're being told to turn around, don't do anything. That's why you can hardly ever find a police officer when something big is going down. You can't find a cop anywhere. And when you call, it's 20, 30 minutes later. Long after this situation has occurred and unfolded. And a lot of people just don't understand. A lot of societies before us who are more advanced have come and gone in the blink of an eye. And people are ignorant to understand and not to wonder, hey, this will happen to us one day. They don't want to think like that. They just don't. It's something that is preposterous. It is something that is just absolute narcissism at its finest. And we can't be allowing ourselves to continue on this way, because at the end of the day, it will destroy us. We will destroy ourselves. And it's upsetting. It's honestly upsetting that these beings are allowed to come in. They're allowed to take over, and they're allowed to cool off this planet and steal genetic material from us and take material from us without our consent. It sounds absolutely absurd, I know, but it is what it is, and we have to fight it. We have to fight it by all means. So, what are you gonna do for the fight? What are you gonna do? Hi everybody, I'm Remington Unger, writer, director, producer, narrator of this film, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I give you full consent to copy this movie, to distribute it, to share with your friends, family, co-workers, whoever, and show the true nature of what's going to happen to humanity. We need to know that we will be replaced. We are going to be destroyed by the hands of these beings if we do not stop it and stop the shadowy government from taking us over and taking us down and eliminating us for their own greed. The future belongs to us. It doesn't belong to a group of unknown individuals working within the confines of a secret government within our own. With that being said, please enjoy the rest of this documentary. We need to understand that society around us is nothing but a facade. People are living a life that is nothing more than a fantasy. The more we understand this, the more we could actually fight back and take back our planet and take back our right to live and our right to exist. But this society, this group is so dark and so deep within the confines of the world around us. We have no knowledge of who they are, but we do know that they do have their branches, and that we do know that it is not too late. Sure, the planet might be destroyed, but as long as there's a handful of people, we can always rebuild it. That is the wonders of society. That is the wonders of the human race, is that we're able to continue. Now, we can't allow ourselves to be torn apart this way. We can't allow ourselves to be manipulated and destroyed and to fight each other when we know these atrocities are taking place. So, what can you get out of life is what you should be asking yourself. What can you do to prevent anything from happening again on the same level as a Pompeii or an Atlantis? Well, the answer is simple. You have to figure out how to prevent these people from going down the tunnel further. These people are already finding themselves destructive with a destructive force unknown to that of any other world. We have to allow ourselves to advance towards finding a common ground. Now, they want us to hate each other, they want us to destroy each other, they want us to manipulate each other, they want to divide us so much by race, sex, religion, ideology, that they will not stop. Because in all honesty, once you're so divided, once you're divided by every common denominator, then they know you won't care if 100 people go missing. They know you won't care if an entire tribe is wiped out in, let's say, Africa, or a village in Eastern Europe, or a group of people in Northern Canada. They know that if you're so divided, you will not care what happens to those that are different from you. And they prey on that. They prey on that to the very end. They don't want you to be living in peace with everyone. They don't want that. They want you to live in a world of ignorance. They want you to hate the rich. They want you to hate everybody. That's the understanding. Alright, that's how they use these weapons. They want you to be completely different from the world, and they use that to their advantage. You know? Like look at all the wars started in the past 100 years. They want people to hate people so that others can have their own advantages over the rest. And it's a sick world, and we need to stop it. Now, I like to think that I'm doing my part in this by allowing myself to gather this information. Now, if many of you people understand that what I did, the knowledge that I got and collected and brought forth, that a small number of people believed, and the rest of the majority of people thought it was just hogwash. But the truth slowly came out that what I was saying was the actual truth. And this upset a lot of people. So much so I had to go underground for a while. Because I was getting hate mail. I had people banging on my door at all hours of the night, threatening me and my family. And it comes to the point where I just couldn't live my normal life anymore. I had to separate from my family. I had to go out and deal with this on my own, and I'm still having to look over my shoulder every day as I go out. I've been harassed by the police, I've been harassed by the government, I've been harassed by small groups of individuals who want to keep me quiet, but that's not going to happen today. I am not going to allow myself to be bullied and to be pushed around to keep my silence. That's not going to happen. Because these people won't pay you off. These individuals won't want you to get paid off. They will rather have you killed and make it look like an accident, or make it look like it was a heart attack or a suicide. Lately they've been pushing towards more of suicide, but the thing is though, people are starting to catch on. You know, you don't shoot yourself twice in the head with a shotgun, and that's not a suicide. You know, you don't hawk yourself up on drugs, and then drive into a river, and then they say it's suicide. That doesn't happen, alright? Maybe it does, but it's just a very small percentage. When you have people in the government who are known as whistleblowers, and they want those people dead, no matter what, because they're afraid. If you want an example of this, there were people who were coming out with government secrets, and the government wanted to throw them out. Throw them in the trash and just be gone with them. That kid in England who hacked NASA and found alien life, found proof that NASA was hiding the existence of aliens. Well, the aliens were us. Alright, let's get this one thing straight, okay? The aliens were us. And we have to understand this, is that guy in England pretty much almost blew the whistle on the Mefitis Conspiracy. He was so close, but quickly NASA figured out what was going on, pulled the plug, because in all honesty, we are doomed. And they know this. They don't want us to understand this stuff. They don't want Joe Schmo down the street to think that, one day when the numbers come in, that they're going to be harvested and taken away and dealt with like animals. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to think to yourself, the world around you, you're not in control of it. The second the second you realize, hey, I'm not in control, is the second you realize, hey, what's going on, right? And they don't want that. People have to understand that they do not care about you, that these individuals would rather see you die than to come out with the truth. And we need to understand this, and we need to educate people. We can't sit blindly and have this whole idea that anybody could make it in this world, that people are judging you based on the color of your skin, or your religious beliefs, or your background, or orientation, or your political ideologies. They don't care. You are nothing more than a frontline delusion. And once you wake up, once you realize this, you will see how much of a fool you were. Those who are already noticing this aren't taking it anymore. They're fighting it. They're coming out with information. They're trying to educate people, and the vast majority are seeing them as crazy. But let me tell you guys something right now. The crazies are the ones that warn the world about fascism. They warn the world about communism. They warn the world about every conspiracy. Conspiracy theory alone is a term created by the government to make people who knew the truth, who are coming out with the truth, to seem crazy. Child sex rings in Washington, D.C. and all over Western Europe and Eastern Europe. That was a conspiracy theory 15, 20 years ago. Now it's all come out that the government was like, yeah, we knew about it. We were kind of profiting off of it, to appease foreign dignitaries. 9/11, another instance. Government pretty much says, hey, this is a terrorist attack. People rally up to it, go into a war with a country that had nothing to do with it. A million Iraqis die. Nobody cares. The government comes out and is like, yeah. They don't quite say it, but they pretty much confirm that it was an inside job. The guy who took out the insurance on the buildings, the guy who owned them. The buildings were garbage. The biggest scam, the biggest insurance fraud in the world. Insurance scam, I should say, in the world. Where is he? Nobody knows where he is. He's probably dead. He probably died right after he got that check. Too many loose strings, you know? Too many loose ends, you gotta cut them. And now nobody cares. People joke about it. They joke about it being an inside job. But these are the same people 20 years ago that wanted to go, not 20 years ago, I should say 18 years ago, that wanted to go into Iraq and kill a bunch of innocent people for payback. Doesn't make any sense, right? It's disgusting to see how humanity is. It honestly is. It's very disgusting. And those within the Mefitis society are laughing. They're laughing to the bank. Because they know they got us. They know they got the vast majority of people eating out of the palm of their hands, laughing at just the stupidity that they're able to unfold and how easy people are manipulated. When will it become common knowledge, and when will people admit that they are nothing but sheep for a period of time, and that they woke up and they realized that society around them is nothing more than a joke, that everything is meant to be a game to them? I don't understand. I honestly don't. It's a sickening world we live in where people are being herded and taken to the slaughterhouse and nobody cares. It's really disgusting. It's a disgusting, disgusting thing. And it's a disgusting world we live in. It is. It's honestly horrible. And these people have their talents, have their tentacles out. You know, you see people in the military who go on expeditions just to satisfy the means of their own advancement in technology to use against their own neighboring countries or against innocent people who have done nothing wrong. I can't name names. I really wish I could, but there's one individual who I know is enthralled in this group. I can't say his name because for legal action, but I will tell you his initial is M. It's his last name, and he is high-ranking in the military, the United States military, and he knows the truth. He knows the truth. When you find out that people in the military were basically kidnapping children and using them as currency in these other countries to get information out of others, to get their own means of enjoyment out of them. It's sickening. It is a disgusting world we live in, that these people are able to go into other countries, take small children, give them to their supposed allies so they get more information on these beings, and then allow those people to do whatever they want to those children. There is recorded evidence that the one supposed exclamation marks, or quotation marks I should say, allied nations who go to war go in, and I'm not just saying it's just the allied nations. Now keep in mind though, this is after World War II, so I don't want anybody coming over and saying like, oh, you're talking about these people too. No. It's after World War II, all the conflicts you saw before, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, the Afghan War, Operation Freedom, and all this stuff. They're going in and they're taking children because one of these numbers, I I shouldn't say numbers, order forms, let's just call them that, calls for, hey, we need about 10,000 children. 10,000 children from, let's say, the Middle East. Well, okay, what's the best way to go in and take 10,000 children from the Middle East? Well, you start a war there for one. Before, we need 10,000 to 20,000 or God knows how many Asian kids. Any country will do within Asia. Just go. And then there's Korea. Oh, it's about communism. It's against communism. No. Look how many people got displaced and went missing. Look how many children in Vietnam were given to the United States government, put them on planes to the United States, and put into the quotation marks adoption system. Exactly. I don't know why I assumed you guys would answer that, but you know, it's just one of those things where you have to just realize to an extent of what's going on, where you have to actually understand that the world around you is nothing but a facade. All these great, wonderful humanitarian aid projects that you see unfold before you in the guise of generosity, in the guise of saving innocent people's lives, all comes to the end when you realize they have a quota to make. And it's really sickening that there's all this information, there's everything out there, and I know something's going to happen to me. I honestly do know that. And that doesn't scare me. I honestly don't care if anything happens to me. I just want the truth to come out. And I'm not afraid anymore. I have my connections. I have my information. I can't release sources because I don't want to have more people who want to do good die because of me. Because I did this. The media won't listen. The government won't listen. People in general don't care. As long as they have their Starbucks, as long as they have their cell phones and their dreams of becoming internet famous. Because let's face it, everybody wants to be internet famous, which is a joke. It's just one of those things where you have to really just sit down, open your eyes, and realize that everything was a lie. You know, back in the 50s, it would always show you like how wonderful the future would be. How great it would be with flying cars, and jetpacks, and cars that would, you know, transform into helicopters. And you know, they showed you all these pictures and all this wonderful stuff. And then when you realize that it was nothing more than poppycock, that's when you realize it, you know. And these beings, these beings that are us from the future, that want to harvest our DNA and collect our magma, you have to understand, they've already pretty much dwindled every source they can get in our galaxy. If you look at all the other planets like Mars, all the moons that had volcanic activity, they're all drained. They're all empty. They're pretty much barren wastelands. And it's because they've destroyed them. You know, they've taken everything they could from these planets that may or may not have harbored life, or could have harbored life if left alone. But no, what they did was they just depleted them to the point of extinction, of absolute murdering them. And that's when you realize that's what they're going to do to us. They're pretty much preserving their own species by taking genetic material from the past, which means that they'll continue to live on once humanity is either eradicated, kept on farms and being used like cattle, and that the planet's cooling down to the point now where we could be facing another ice age. But they don't care. They don't care about that. You know? It's not, they don't honestly care, and it's sickening. It's honestly sickening. And I'm seeing it hands down. You know? I was approached because I stumbled across something. I stumbled across a group of individuals that were taking others who were innocent and then using them for their own means in a quote-unquote satanic rituals. You know, it's funny because when you realize satanic rituals are nothing more than just poppycock, and it's really for these future versions of us. It really opens your eyes. You really have to sit down and wonder just how far the world is down this hole that humanity has dug itself. It's insane. It's absolutely, honestly insane. There are days when I don't believe it myself, and I don't want to believe it. But everything happens for a reason, I guess. And this is our reason. Our reason to not exist is for this very, very documentary to come out. You could believe it. You cannot believe it. I don't care. I do plan on releasing more information after this film is done, if I'm still around, and it is just to the point now where I can't understand just what is going on. It's just becoming too much of a hassle to continue this. I can't stand on the street corner anymore and shout because I know how it's gonna end. I've been told numerous times by those who found this out that it's going to end within the next 20 to 30 years. And this isn't some crazy end of the world prophecy. This isn't some crazy, insane view on how the world may end. I've been told, with information given to me, that these people want us out in the next 30 years, either by a famine, either by a massive catastrophe, environmental-wise, or by supposedly our own quote-unquote doing. And we need to understand that this world is being terraformed. It's not our own doing. It's them giving the orders. It is not society. It is them giving the orders to this group to create a planet suitable for them, or they will destroy us. They will destroy us. They will take everything we've accomplished. They will use us for cattle. They will steal our genetic makeup, and then by that point it's too late. They will eliminate those who speak out against them. They will eliminate those who have free thought. They want nothing more than people to be sheep. They want people to live an existence of stupidity, of ignorance, and to continue on with their lives thinking they could follow their dreams and that they were all individually special. But no, the only thing they want is to harvest us for our DNA and our genetic material and our body parts to keep them living like some kind of weird interdimensional extraterrestrial vampires. That's how they are. That's what they want. They want to destroy us no matter what it takes, No matter what happens, they want to use us to the very end. Like that old man down the street who has lots of money and he still drives a burnt out Ford Pinto. He doesn't want to spend that extra money to get himself something more reliable, because if it ain't broke, why fix it? But in this society, in this day and age, if it ain't broke, you have to fix it. Alright? If it doesn't look broke, you have to fix it. You have to perform maintenance on it. But these days, nobody wants to do that. We're in a society where it's a throwaway society. People don't care if they have a car for a couple years. They will get rid of that car and buy something new just for the sake of buying something new. We have to understand this. This is all happening right before our very eyes. Society is being lied to. The government doesn't care about you. They have no involvement with any of this. It is this group of people, alright? They will destroy us. They will wipe us out. And no matter what you do, at the end of the day, it's going to end fairly horrible for us. And there's nothing more I could honestly say. The Highway of Tears is another example. The Indian reservation system in the United States is another example. The park system is another example. Hundreds to even thousands of people go missing in national park services, provincial park services, and the government cannot do anything about it. They don't care. How many times do you think they actually open up a case file and they're like, well, let's investigate why little Timmy went missing in this park? They don't care. Why? Because that's a drop-off point. That's easy pickings for this group. And they know that. The government knows that. They don't care. They'll turn their back and then they'll get a bunch of money and be like, oh, okay. Because they have the patents for all these weapons. These sound rays, these heat rays, these death rays, these super weapons that you see now all of a sudden come out of nowhere. You know? Genetic modifications, cloning. All this stuff was gifts to us from them as a way to pay us off. Look for the ones that hold the patents to all these weapons. Look at the companies that have all these weapons. There are companies that deal in death, in suffering, and misery. These are the people that are working within this group to make this happen. Okay? These people are nothing more than just facades. The ones that own the patents to these death rays and weapons of mass destruction and whatnot are the ones that own humanity. They're the ones who are making these deals, raising the funds to pay off people so they can continue supporting this crazy semi-religious group that is harboring this idea of genetic perfection. Not being that of human, but being that of our future selves. They see themselves as pioneers. That's how messed up this world is. They see themselves as the pioneering people who are trying to lead the way for a new, better humanity. And the one thing is you have to understand is that these people are getting away with it. You know, people look at serial killers. You know, they're like, well, I never knew this person was like that. Well, you kind of did. If you have an inkling, if you have a small little inkling feeling that something not right is going on, you kind of have to understand that you kind of knew. You know, nobody is that ignorant that they think they never knew. These people know. And the ones that do come out, that do report this stuff to to their superiors, hey, this is what's going on. Those are the people that usually wind up missing or dead. There's a pattern here, people. And we can't allow this to go on anymore. You know, we're allowing this to happen at an exponential rate. I'm drinking my coffee, I'm smoking my cigarettes because I can't stop. I want to stop. I don't want to do this. I don't want to live in this world that is like this. And I know many of you people don't want this either, but there is something you can do, and that is fight it. Tell the world, you know, instead of going over to and reporting it to your supervisor, who's gonna pretty much tell them to kill you and your family, make it look like you disappeared or that you ran away. How many times have you seen reports of people that were successful? How many times have you seen people that were successful in the media up and vanish? They don't. They're killed because they know too much, and their bosses and superiors and those who in charge don't trust them. Though the ones you see that are in charge, that are working with these people and these individuals and these beings, they all look sickly. They all look like they have some strange disease that hasn't been divulged yet. There are people that look like they're dying. These people that are working, that are in leagues with these beings, who smile and nod and drink the Kool-Aid, all look sickly. Hillary Clinton looked extremely sickly during her whole presidential campaign. That's because she was in league with them. Pizzagate, another thing that happened. All these people are shocked and dismayed, like, oh, I never knew there was a whole bunch of, you know, child sex going on. Well, it was. Okay? People are ignorant and stupid, and they don't want to think that the people they support and the people they want to believe in are the ones that are diddling little kids in the back room. This goes deeper than what you're thinking of. There's things going on right now in this world that you don't want to know what's going on. But honestly, for your own survival and the survival of your family and friends, you have to know this. The more people talk about this, the more people come out and say, this is happening right now, wake up, the more power you'll take away from them. And that's the way it is. People want to believe in something because people are stupid. People do not want to think for themselves. People do not want to wake up and notice that, hey, the person that I supported, the person that I believed, the person who I had, who I thought was going to change the world for the better, is nothing more than a sick, disgusting pervert. People don't want to think like that, because then they have to look inside themselves and they have to realize, hey, maybe I support this too, and they don't want to seem like that. They always want to play the I didn't know card, or I didn't do nothing card, or the I don't know what was going on, I was only following orders card. And this is what's happening all around us, and it's becoming more and more obvious today than it ever has been before. Before there was always a title. Before they hid under a banner, and now all of a sudden it's like there's no banners. They just want this stuff to happen, and they'll protest and act up and start and run afoul. But in reality, all they want to do is continue the Mefitis society and continue it and only look out for themselves. And they all follow a certain creed, a certain appearance, because they are not real people. They are genetically modified people who are controlled by them to run this organization so that they could have supporters. Because the truth about them's coming out. Alright? You could watch this documentary right now and you'll notice that the truth is out about them. Slowly and methodically, people are releasing information. And they know that. So what they're doing, they're creating Genesis projects. They're creating people who are nothing more than mindless robots to come out and defend them. This is what's happening right now. They all talk alike, they all look alike, they all sound alike. They all sound like they have a tape recorder in their brains, and it's constantly on a loop. Constantly. You see it a lot. People are programmable machines. People are mindless apes. People are idiots. The vast majority of people want to fit in. They want to feel special. They want to feel like they're doing something good. But in reality, all those people are doing are fueling the machine, fueling hatred, and they're puppets. That is it. We have to understand this. We have to understand that life is not special in their minds. In their eyes, they are nothing more than mindless drones. And we have to stop this. This is disgusting behavior. This is inept. We have to stop this no matter what the cost is. And they don't care if they support this or not. They don't care. They just want you to drink the Kool-Aid and play follow the leader. And this is what's happening. Alright? People are going missing. People are vanishing. Children are being used as currency. If I have to live in a world where people believe it's okay to take children in the middle of the night and harvest them from their DNA, if I have to live in a world where people make excuses for those who go missing because of this dark organization, then I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I honestly think that this planet is nothing more than just a waste of life then, because there's so much more that could have been done. We could have done so many great things in our lives, but they won. They won this round. They won this round, but they haven't won the game. Because I know out there are people who want the truth, who want to wake up, who want to stop this from happening. And once we realize this, once there's a vast majority of us who want to stop these madmen from taking over the world, from completely destroying us, like how their dark lords destroyed Atlantis, Pompeii, who want to destroy society over and over and over again until they get what they want. They want nothing more than docile robots. The very thing they hate is that we have free will, and that we have resources to survive, and we're allowed to believe and do whatever we want. They hate that so much that they want to destroy us. If you look at the world around you, every religion is pretty much the same. Every religion is pretty much cookie cutter, but quotation marks, they're all different, and we're killing ourselves over that. For 1,000 years with the Crusades, we were killing ourselves over the idea of God. But both sides are being spoken to by these beings. Why? Because war is good in their eyes. Because then they could take more and more and more, and nobody will notice it. They'll write it off as a casualty of war. Oh, 800 children went missing. Oh, that's a casualty of war. And then they use that as a weapon to fuel hate. And when people realize that they're being played like a puppet on a string, the whole game will change. And we're already starting to see it. But we have to stop it now. We have to take this fight. And we have to bring people to the understanding that this war is going to end and we will win no matter what the cost is. It's one of those things where we need to work together on this. We have to. We can't live like this anymore. I promised myself I was going to quit smoking, but I can't. Not as long as this fight's still going on. Oh my. Anyways, we can't live like this. We can't. We're made for something more, and then we lost ourselves. And it's coming more and more truthfully. It's just really extremely difficult to continue talking about this, to continue this fight. And once you realize that the world around you is nothing more than a facade, that there are people who want to hurt you and your children and want to use you for some sick Kafka-esque existence, that they want to fuel hate and despair and ego, and they want to create a society of hate, you have to understand that this is what they want. This is it. And at the end of the day, you don't matter. Because in their eyes, you're not special. You don't mean nothing to them. You are nothing to them. And then at the end of the day, that's all it is. They want you divided. They want you to hate each other while they work in the background and take people that they deem undesirable, that they deem inferior, so they could continue on their existence. And while your back is turned, they can do whatever they want. And a lot of people don't care. And that's the sad truth. People just don't care. But some do. And I hope to God one day people who see the truth and know the truth and find out the truth like myself are able to realize that we were great, that we are going to succeed, and that maybe one day we will be in the vast majority who want to stop it and expose them and their crimes, and that we can live together knowing that what we allowed to happen was unjust, and we can learn from our mistakes and allow this to never happen again.